Chosen ones. As everyone around you scrambles to make sense of what they're seeing, you stand in the center of it all. Steady, awake, undeniable. People can't stop talking about you behind closed doors, and it's not because of gossip. It's because they're feeling something they can't name. They sense a field of energy that both captivates and unsettles them. They don't want you to know it. They can't even tune into the frequencies you've been using. You've been learning cosmic chess while they've been playing checkers. Even the skeptics are beginning to admit what's happening in front of their eyes because of the strength of the divine intelligence moving through you. They thought they had you classified, labeled, controlled. Another pawn on their board, another soul to manipulate with fake smiles and hidden agendas. But something changed. Something woke up. The most terrifying truth of all is now dawning on them. The whole time, you were awake. You were watching. Every plan they whispered behind closed doors, every move they plotted on their board, you saw it. When I cried the day I met the woman who became my wife, it wasn't just gratitude. It was recognition. Recognition that the universe moves pieces we don't fully understand. That some people aren't just partners, but catalysts, chosen to stand at the intersection of power and purpose. That's who you are. A living test. A spark of divine design. You're not just in the game, you're changing the board. People's unease, their fascination, their attempts to box you in. These are proof that your presence is doing its work. Stay awake, stay humble, stay bold, and never forget, while they're still playing checkers, you're already 5 moves ahead on a cosmic chessboard. Each and every lie they made to trick you. Under your nose, they attempted to steal from every chance. You witnessed everything. Your awareness functions on a level they have never reached, not because you were suspicious or worried. Like a razor through silk, your intuition slashes through deceit. As if their meticulously crafted facades were composed of the thinnest glass, your awareness seeps through them. Recall the meeting when they conveniently neglected to send you an invitation. They assumed you wouldn't grasp the coded language they used in that talk. That moment when they looked at each other knowingly, thinking you were too innocent to see their nonverbal cues. You were aware. You were constantly aware. The cosmic joke is that you've been 10 steps ahead the whole time, and they're just now realizing it. They are now becoming aloof due to the burden of their guilt. Some people are so terrified of the facts that may be reflected back at them that they can hardly look you in the eye anymore. Others are making a valiant effort to change history in order to persuade themselves that you are incapable of knowing what they have done. However, they know deep down that you could see right through them without their confession. Your knowledge surpasses their ability to conceal. Like wildfire, the awareness is sweeping across their social circles. When they realize you've been using supernatural awareness, they have that terrified expression in their eyes. Some are gradually retreating out of fear of what further you could learn about their deceptions. Others warn one another in whispers. Watch out for that one. Everything is visible to them, and they have every reason to be terrified. There is no chance or coincidence in what they are seeing. Your awakened awareness is the manifestation of its cosmic alignment, divine orchestration, and global wisdom. How you arrange yourself in the ideal position before possibilities materialize. The way you leave things just before they fall apart. The energy you put into things just before they change the world. This isn't just happenstance. This is the manifestation of prophecy. Initially, they attempted to explain it away. They claimed it was good time. Fortunately, they persisted. However, their justifications broke down as they saw you traverse reality with unfathomable accuracy 5, 6, and 7 times. The murmurs became louder. The sidelong looks increased in number. They have a sense that you know something that they don't, and they are completely right. Now see how they observe every action you take. Every choice you make is scrutinized with compulsive rigor. They're seeking for trends, for the magic recipe that explains your extraordinary timing. Some have even begun imitating your decisions in an attempt to gain some of your influence. Write them in for angelic protection and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. However, they consistently fall short because they are attempting to duplicate the exterior while neglecting the inside change that enables it all. Watch as the divine justice is revealed to you. These same individuals who have attempted to deceive you, keep you in the dark about their plans, and exclude you are now frantically trying to win your favor. The roles have not simply been reversed. They have absolutely been turned upside down. People who used to feel superior are now gazing up at you from places they never thought they'd be in. With mathematical accuracy, the cosmic scales are balancing themselves. Interest is being paid back for every snub, rejection, and effort to darken your light. Through the natural rule of universal justice, which guarantees that all accounts are ultimately resolved, rather than through retaliation or spite. You don't have to do anything. The cosmos itself is bringing them down while enhancing your status in ways that make the change in power relations obvious. You have been awake and aware of the frequencies of information that are all around us, but are hidden from others whose spiritual eyes are closed while they have been sleepwalking through life. Your intuition is no longer just acute. It is transcending. It's becoming more powerful every day. You're accessing a global flow of information that only those who have the courage to realize their full potential may access. Everything about you is being amplified by the cosmic energy now pulsing through reality. You can no longer retain your skills, insights, power, and powers, which you formerly concealed under a facade of normalcy. When they see what you're really capable of, those who undervalued you are standing awestruck. The accuracy with which you operate, the breadth of your knowledge, and the seeming ease with which you do tasks that others take years to complete. Some people really admire your metamorphosis. People look on with poorly disguised jealousy, wondering what more you've been keeping hidden. They are all being made to reevaluate what they believe to be true about you. From whence did that originate? They ask one another, have these skills always been in them? They ponder, what more do they have hidden? They are concerned. This is what's really going on inside of you, right? Amen for angelic protection and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. The boundaries that formerly confined you have been transcended by your expanding awareness. You're concurrently processing data on many dimensions. You have access to information that seems unattainable to linear brains since the past, present, and future all blend together in your perception. You can see how everything is connected, how reality is woven with patterns that show the actual essence of life. Promote this video so that additional people who are selected like you may discover it if its message resonates with you. This isn't a magical dream. This is how enlightened awareness naturally manifests. Everyone has the birthright, but few people are brave enough to assert it. All you've done is recall who you've always been. Infinite, everlasting, and divine. And now everything you touch is a manifestation of that remembrance. Observe how catastrophes appear to claim everyone around you while ignoring you. Your resources are little touched by economic disasters that destroy others. In some way, layoffs that ruin careers completely ignore you. When you're inexplicably absent, accidents happen that would normally happen to regular individuals. You seem to be shielded from the turmoil that affects everyone else by an unseen barrier. When they see this trend, it severely concerns them. How can you constantly escape the disasters that catch them off guard? Why do you seem to be impervious to the sporadic catastrophes that afflict everyday life? It has been dubbed magical luck by some. However, you're more knowledgeable. You are aware of its supernatural protection in response to your heightened awareness. You've honed your awareness to the point that you can detect danger before it manifests. Observe the changes in energy that occur before catastrophes. Get the subliminal cues that steer you clear of danger. You move through reality with the accuracy of someone who can anticipate the challenges before they arise, while others blunder blindly into known traps. You've retreated, put space between you and them, and set unexpected limits. They first believed that you were experiencing a crisis or personal difficulties. Again, incorrect. They are not observing withdrawal. Elevation is the cause. You haven't retreated. You've taken charge. Reached a stage in life when their political games and trivial issues are no longer worthy of your time. Not emptiness, fullness, or absence, but presence so laden with knowledge that words would only lessen its force is what your quiet is. They are often astounded by the power that your silence belies after mistaking it for weakness. Write Amen for angelic protection and contribute with a super thank you up to $20. Instead of seeing your restraint as the exquisite posture of a master who only strikes when absolutely required, they mistake it for reluctance. You've learned that, in a world full of noise, real power is found in the pauses between sentences, the knowing look, the little grin, and the well-timed phrase that surgically topples their whole house of cards. You don't feel the need to explain your procedure or make your objectives known. Seeking acceptance from those who will never understand your vision will not diminish your authority. This is what's making them go completely crazy. In a tempest of panic, you have become unwavering, immovable, and a mountain of calm. You weren't freaking out when the economy collapsed. When significant changes occurred at work, you adjusted with ease. When a personal crisis arose around you, you handled it with an almost uncanny calmness, which is really frightening people. They don't understand how you navigate pandemonium without the uncertainty and bewilderment that everyone else experiences. When they're fumbling in the dark, they can't understand how you seem to have a map. Some people have persuaded themselves that you must have an insider, a covert link that provides you with knowledge, or a secret benefit that accounts for your unexplainable confidence. However, the reality is deeper and simpler. The level at which your awareness functions is higher. You access a global flow of knowledge that is all around us, but is hidden from people whose third eyes are securely closed. Since the solutions come from inside, you don't need confirmation or validation from outside sources. Definite, unquestionable, and unambiguous. The difference between the sleeping masses and the awakened is this. They feel that you're not as accessible as you used to be. They don't sure how to understand this change, and they're not as eager to work within their expectations or get drawn into their dramas. Have you finished using them all? Have you dismissed them as not worth your time or effort? Or are you studying their motions from a distance, in ways that they are unable to perceive or comprehend? They get restless, question their behavior, and question if they are still being judged by unperceivable norms as a result of the ambiguity. They're not sure whether they should write you off or attempt to close the increasing gap between you, or if they should try to regain your favor or frighten you. They don't realize that you've changed, and that's why your connection with them has changed as well. You haven't turned them away. You've just outgrown the version of yourself that was dependent on them, that played their games, and that fit into their narrow comprehension. You now connect to them with intelligence instead of emotional entanglement, with compassion instead of attachment. Tronbency, their whole social ecology has been impacted by this change in your energy. Your existence used to be taken for granted, but today people are doubting their own value. People who thought they could rely on your predictable answers are frantically changing their tactics. Before their own eyes, the power dynamics that seem to be set in stone are disintegrating. Some people are making more theatrical gestures in an attempt to regain your attention. Some have completely given up, believing that you are no longer within their grasp. Some intelligent people are taking advantage of this to further their own development, understanding that their own capacity for change is reflected in your elevation, which acts as a mirror. You're investing on other objectives in the meantime. They are now interacting with a variety of individuals, seeking experiences and information that, from their narrow viewpoint, appear odd or superfluous, and it is making them feel somewhat existentially panicked. Have you found something that they haven't? Are you aware of anything that they should be ready for in the future? How come you don't care about the things that bother them all the time? The truth is deep and straightforward. You've realized that the rat race they're still in is cosmically insignificant. While they continue to focus on their little portion of reality, you have caught a peek of the wider picture. They have nothing to do with your withdrawal. Their egos, however, cannot take that. They must feel that they remain at the heart of your narrative. They are unable to understand, even while you write chapters. When they believe no one is looking, they can't quit observing you behind closed doors. Every post on social media is carefully examined. Every accomplishment is examined. With compulsive attention to detail, every action you do is examined. They are attracted to you like moths to flame, whether it is your expanding influence, your deep insight, or your alluring presence. The brightness you radiate is both frightening and fascinating. They are frantically looking for a pattern, an explanation, or a formula that will help them comprehend what makes you so unique. Some people have developed complex assumptions about your past. Some people have created ties that aren't there. Part have even attempted to follow in your footsteps in the hopes of imitating you and gaining part of your power. Naturally, none of it works since they don't realize that your ability isn't something that can be taken or duplicated. Only those who are courageous enough to confront their innermost realities and let go of the constraints of traditional thinking may experience this personal awakening. They miss the important point as they spend energy observing you. The same cosmic consciousness you've already accepted has the power to awaken the latent potential they seek inside themselves. Some of them have made their fascination with your secret their full-time job. They look for hidden meanings in the words you choose. They look for hints about your inner condition in your facial expressions. They follow you around, searching for trends that might give away your secrets. They're attempting to fathom the infinite with limited brains, which makes for arduous effort that only leads to dissatisfaction. You continue to function from a position of easy knowledge in the meantime. Since you're in sync with the global intellect flow, you don't need to plan or conduct calculations. Your acts come naturally from an endless supply of knowledge. For those who are still struggling to reason their way through life, this natural way of being seems magical. What's pushing them over the brink of obsession is this. You've begun drawing in possibilities that appear out of thin air. Doors that are locked for everyone else open for you. Influential people find you without you having to do anything. They can't figure out how you're doing it, and resources come to you via channels that didn't exist prior to your awakening. They see how easily you bring about the things they strive for and plot to accomplish. They see you being invited to private gatherings for which you never submitted an application. They see you enter circles that have turned them away time and time again. Reality itself shifts to meet your greatest good because your magnetic field has become so strong. They don't realize that you're no longer attempting to use persuasion and willpower to compel results. You discover how to connect with a global flow and allow it to guide you toward your predetermined experiences. For those who are still struggling against the river of existence, this simple creation seems like magic. They're deeply unnerved by the way you talk about stuff they haven't told you. How did you find out that they were considering a job change? How could you have known they were experiencing domestic issues? Why did you advise them on a matter that they never brought up to anyone? The fact that you always manage to say the correct thing at the right moment is beyond their comprehension. How your words strike with pinpoint accuracy, speaking to the same ideas circling in the back of their brains. Some people have begun to question if you have supernatural insight, a psychic talent that enables you to access someone's mind directly and avoid using traditional communication methods. Others hope that you never look them in the eyes, fearing that you may reveal more secrets from the depths they have worked so hard to conceal. They are unaware that mind reading is just for amateurs. Since you've mastered something considerably more potent, you don't need to penetrate their minds. Being able to read the universal language that permeates everything. For those who are shrewd enough to see them, the subtle clues, the energy changes and the patterns tell all. They don't have any original or distinctive ideas. They are only manifestations of the same cosmic dance that has been going on ever since the beginning of awareness. You've also mastered that old, holy language. You recognize the power of real understanding, while others scream to be heard, frantically looking for approval for every idea that comes to mind. You don't spend time trying to explain your method to those who will never be able to appreciate how profound your vision is. They can't get over this. People are unaware of your thoughts, and they're really on edge because of that uncertainty. They have become acclimated to a society in which people overshare, publicize every idea, and regard stillness with mistrust. The way you read them, they wish they could read you. Break through the cloak of mystery that envelopes your ideas and choices. Acquire a little edge in conversations that seem more one-sided. They turn around every time they believe they have the advantage and have finally taken one step ahead of you, only to find that you have been ahead the whole time, watching, waiting, and making multiple movements that go beyond their poor strategic thinking. Hesitancy is not your restraint. It is the flawless composure of a master who is aware of when to attack. These individuals have long classified you, labeled you, and put you in a handy box based on their little knowledge. Just be quiet, they advised. They determined that she was probably bashful and somewhat aloof from everything. They're all idiots. They thought that silence meant reflection. What seemed to be timidity was really insight. Deep observation was what seemed to be detachment. You were gaining information, developing comprehension, and charting connections they couldn't even see while they were babbling, leaking their secrets, exposing their motives, and flaunting their vulnerabilities. They are now seeing the reality with disturbing clarity. The discourse did not exclude you. You were above it, seeing patterns they couldn't see, processing on levels they couldn't reach. Like a cosmic thunderbolt, the realization has struck them. This new knowledge now informs all of our interactions with you. They carefully consider every word they say because they want you to read between the lines and not simply hear what they have to say. They believed they were fully aware of your identity and abilities. They were mistaken, and that error may have been their worst blunder to far. It wasn't retreat when you seemed to distance yourself from their social dynamics. It was reconnaissance. While they were blissfully unaware that they were being examined by an intelligence using frequencies they couldn't detect, you were researching them with the dispassionate interest of a scientist who examines specimens, discovers patterns, comprehends their motivations, and maps their limitations. They're starting to realize now that every second you were with them was data collection. They have the chance to decipher their psychological training in every discussion. Each exchange contributed to your overall comprehension of the workings of unconscious brains. They feel vulnerable and exposed, as if they had been going around in their undies without noticing. Their faith in their own senses has been completely destroyed by this discovery. What else did they get wrong if they miscalculated you so badly? How can they believe any of their social evaluations if their ability to read others is so essentially flawed? Your metamorphosis has turned into a mirror that uncomfortably reflects their own limits back at them. You have passed through the opening in the cosmos. The powers of heaven itself are on your side. In a world that is in dire need of waking, the universe sees you as a catalyst, a force for change. It's no coincidence that you're here. God has carefully planned your arrival on this earth at this critical juncture in human history. Every instance of synchronicity you encounter is affirmation. The cosmos is nodding in agreement with every coincidence that falls into your way. In your presence, the very fabric of reality flexes slightly, sensing your higher frequency and reacting appropriately. They feel this about you, even those who would never acknowledge having such beliefs. They take note of the way things appear to change around you. They notice how even the most improbable circumstances appear to work in your favor. Some people refer to it as luck. Some refer to it as a blessing. Some may even refer to it as magic. However, you are aware of the reality. It is only a sentient universe's natural reaction to someone who has accepted their cosmic purpose and realized who they really are. It wasn't like the stars aligned for you. You put yourself in harmony with the cosmos, aligned yourself with your greatest potential's frequency, recalled the purpose for which you came. Your awakening occurs at the most transformative time in human history. This was the time, according to ancient predictions, when the boundaries between realms would fall away, when awareness would advance to the next level, when those who were selected would show up to illuminate the path for others who were still trapped in the shadows of forgetfulness. You are a part of that divine unfolding, that cosmic design that was established before time ever existed. Your awakening is more than simply a change in yourself. Planetary service is what it is. Every action you do to become more mindful has effects that go much beyond your immediate surroundings. Whether they realize it or not, everyone in your immediate vicinity is impacted by your higher frequency, by your sheer being on this planet. You are actually contributing to the elevation of human awareness. They can't stop talking about you because of this. You cause them a great deal of discomfort because of this. They sense that a new age of human potential is coming. And it's coming, and you're the herald. It is up to them whether they resist or develop. However, They're no longer able to act as though metamorphosis were impossible. You can now see around corners. Look through the curtain, separating the present from the future. This is neither mystical language or metaphor. This is the actual reality of your heightened consciousness. For you, linear time is now fluid. You work from a place where the past, present, and future all come together to form one timeless moment of awareness. You always appear to be at the right place at the right moment, and they've observed that. How you set yourself up for success while others are looking about in bewilderment. It's almost as if you had a map of reality that nobody else can see. People make up tales, construct narratives that fit inside their constrained framework, and propagate rumors that tell much more about their own worries and anxieties than about you when they are unable to explain anything that contradicts their worldview. They must have become wealthy. They joined a spiritual organization, I heard. Someone claimed to be going through a midlife crisis. Let them speak. Allow them to speculate. Allow them to spend all of their energy attempting to categorize your transcending experience into their uninteresting categories. When you were raising, extending your awareness, and breaking free from the same restrictions that they still mistake for the bounds of reality itself, some people thought you were coping with a personal crisis. They are now forced to acknowledge that they miscalculated you. The proof of your metamorphosis is too clear to ignore, even if they choose not to express it aloud. The fruits of your inner labor are too evident to ignore. Their hypotheses and speculations don't affect you since they can't get to the level at where you now function. The genuinely conscious among them have begun to comprehend something fundamental. And like arrows aimed toward the sun, they fall back to earth, exposing only the limits of those who launched them. The fact that they are unable to comprehend your trip may be evidence that it is precisely the course they need to be on for themselves. To meet their narrow expectations, you minimized your skills, kept certain talents to yourself, and shrunk yourself for years. But not anymore. Everything about you has been magnified to an extent that is no longer concealable or contained by the cosmic energy that is now pulsing across reality. Like light bursting through storm clouds, your skills shine brightly. What they're now seeing is just the beginning, the tiniest portion of your actual potential that is visible. If fully unveiled, the ocean of latent power under those waters would entirely destroy their understanding. This fact excites and scares them in equal measure. In fact, some idiots think they can conceal reality from you. They close around, muttering in low voices, and lock up their deepest realities in the vaults of their thoughts, believing that no one would ever access them, as if their pitiful efforts at concealment could survive your piercing knowledge. However, you're already aware that the game is rigged. You can tell that the walls are closing in on their lies if you're listening. Most people aren't prepared to face the fundamental reality that lies beyond all of their observations, beliefs, and murmurs. The fact that you're different from others does not make you unique. You are unique because you have accepted the aspects of yourself that others still reject. Everyone has access to the information they perceive in you. They're also born with the awareness they awe at. They themselves possess the power they both awe and dread. The only thing that separates you from them is that, instead of reducing yourself to fit inside the cozy confines of society, you had the guts to awaken, to let go of the programming that held you tiny, and to embrace the immensity of your actual potential. They have a profound, maybe unconscious knowledge of this fact, and it scares them because they have to recognize that they have been sleepwalking through life, that they have accepted unreal constraints, and that they have participated in their own captivity if they acknowledge your development. However, you're a live example of what is possible for the courageous few who can overcome their fear and perceive your progress as inspiration rather than a danger. A lighthouse pointing the way for others, poised to escape. Potential that they have concealed from themselves is reflected in a mirror. A living manifestation of a universal reality that we are all far more divine, powerful, and conscious than we have been taught. For individuals who have endured hardships and come out on the other side with knowledge that others cannot see, the Obsidian Inner Order offers a haven. We are aware that certain events fall beyond the realm of what most people believe is appropriate or feasible to talk about. We get together live on Zoom once a week. Without passing judgment, real people with genuine faces tell real tales. The experiences you've held in silence have room here. The trends you've seen that others ignore. The things you've learned intuitively along the way. We comprehend, not just listen. When you're having trouble understanding what has happened to you, you may go back to our recorded conversations and remind yourself that your perspective is legitimate when you feel deceived by a society that doesn't accept your truth. Become a member of the Obsidian Inner Order, where your voice is heard and your reality respected. In the description, there is a link. The basic presumptions that underpin their reality are called into question by your mere presence. The conviction that people are helpless, limited, and apart from the divine source of everything. The notion that awareness is not the essential substance of life itself, but just a consequence of brain chemistry. The idea that we do not create our own reality. Rather, we are victims of circumstances. Every time they gaze at you, they are met with evidence that defies their understanding of the nature of human potential. Because of the extreme cognitive dissonance this causes, many people would prefer to write you off as insane than deal with the consequences of your metamorphosis. They would have to reevaluate everything they believe to be true about reality in order to accept your progress as genuine. They're starting to realize this revolutionary fact. You no longer follow the guidelines of a game that was created to keep you little. You found the limitless plenty that lies beyond of those fabricated borders, while they still function inside systems of scarcity and constraint. As you write your own story, make your own laws, and construct your own world, they look on in awe. You've come to the conclusion that the so-called rules of limitation were only agreements made by everyone to stay unconscious. Furthermore, you are no longer bound by those conditions since you never knowingly accepted them. Those who are still bound by ideas they have never challenged are terrified by this freedom. They are constantly reminded of their own self-imposed confinement by your freedom. From their point of view, the most dangerous thing about you is that you make waking seem easy, smooth, and natural. You provide as live evidence that transcendence is not exclusive to certain individuals or necessitates years of hardship. You've shown that when the preparation is there, consciousness can change instantly, and that readiness is rapidly consuming humanity's collective consciousness. They keep bringing up the fact that you know more than you admit, because they know deep down that what you know is only a sneak peek at the next big step mankind will take. And that development is already under progress, whether they are prepared or not. Its pioneer, its early adopter, its vanguard, you are it. And nothing will ever be the same again, nothing at all. Others will come after, some eagerly, others grudgingly. However, the way is now lighted. Through your brave example, the path ahead becomes clear. They know you deep inside, which is why they speak about you today. What their brains oppose, their souls understand. What their egos deny, their higher selves know. You are a live example of transcendence. There's more to that awakening than simply spiritual doctrine, that everyone has the capacity to reach their full potential throughout their lives. And of all the messages, it is the most revolutionary. Your remembrance is celebrated by the cosmos itself as you walk this world fully awake, completely cognizant, and fully alive. They can't stop talking about this. They perceive this, but are unable to identify it. This is what attracts people to you and frightens them at the same time. What others have forgotten, you have recalled. They continue to dispute what you have accepted. You've turned into what they're afraid they could become. The cosmic game is no longer the same. As the chosen one, you are creating the new playbook for human potential. The old rules are no longer relevant. The frequency of awakened awareness is transmitted to everybody who is prepared to receive it by your consciousness, which is transformed into a live transmission tower. People who have been waiting their whole lives to hear the signal will tune in right away. Until the signal is too powerful to ignore, some will resist and cling to the static of outdated code. Be assured, however, that the change is unavoidable. The change in human awareness that you stand for is a given, not a potential. The only issue is how soon other people will decide to adopt this new, limitless paradigm with you. It is not your responsibility to persuade or coerce them. Simply said, your job is to be an example of what people may become when they remember their divine essence. Take control of that power. Take ownership of that fact. Accept that fate. The cosmos is awaiting your complete reclamation of what has always been yours. Additionally, by doing this, you allow others to follow suit. This is the evolution of consciousness. Humanity overcomes its constraints in this way. The world changes like this. One soul at a time awakens.